Thank you for staying with us. Still talking about the state of the nation. Um, something unfortunate happened between December 18 and December 21. 4 days of horror. 2 days, not the entire stretch of the 40s, but on that day, 40 persons, officially have been recorded to have died from a children party. Not just persons, children as little as 2 months old died in that situation. You could have, that thing on your screen right now because of a children party organized, in Ibadan and in Okija as well, in Anambra State. An organization came up to say, let's celebrate the Utah with people, and they had food parks, and the people thronged the place. It resulted in almost 25 persons dying. And then in Abuja, on the same December 21, at a church, the same thing. Let us share love with the people by giving them food bags, and it has resulted averagely 65 persons dying in 2 days, in the stretch of 4 days. And many persons are saying, who is to be blamed, in all of these? Number one, because of time, is it a failure of the Nigerian state that has predisposed people to much hunger that little things now appear very big to them and they will do anything, for them to just have an anger of it? The party in Ibadan was meant for 5,000 children, and we learned more than double of that came into that venue, and even adults that resulted in that unfortunate incident. Almost same thing happened, in Okija. Is it the hunger in the land that has caused that due to the hardline policies of the government in power? Number one. Number two, is it a poor management thing from the organizers? Good intention, granted, but maybe they didn't envisage what they were going to get, because when something is about freebies in Nigeria, when something is free, our people, that's another angle to say, is it the attitude of our people, what they usually do when something free is being shared, or is just a poor logistic and management thing from the organizers, or a combination of both? Because many persons will say, this is not the first time things are being shared in Nigeria. This attitude that we are talking about, this is not the first time. Nigerians are not just imported. How come this particular one at this time is like that? You remember earlier in the year, in February, in March, some of these palliatives that were shared in some instances, resulted in death. What is happening with us? Especially, this is not something about job interview or all of this. Is just the sharing of token, some kilograms of rice and oil and sachet of condiment is what has resulted into this. Dr. Katch, are you still with me?
Yes, I am with you.
I believe you heard me. What is
I've
wrong
heard
with
you,
us? How did
and I
we
can
land
tell
here?
you straight away. There are two things that happen. One, the failure of logistical planning. The organizers failed to arrange enough logistics to control the crowd. Second, that it happened in Ibadan, in Southwest. The authorities in government should have learned from that and stopped a repeat of such gathering anywhere in the country if they are not sure that the organizers have the logistical capabilities for crowd control. That's what it is. Let us not just allow people to bring Nigerians together when they don't have the capacity to control such crowds. If you repeat it again 2, 3, 4 times, you're going to have the same thing. If the authorities do not wade in to be sure that whoever organizers are do possess the logistical capabilities to actually control crowd of the size that they are bringing. My advice, don't allow anybody organize such things if they do not possess the logistical capability for crowd control. Don't let that happen. If you do, you're going to have the same thing. So what I'm saying is, you cannot do things we do the same way we used to do them, as you see in those 3 locations, and then expect a different outcome. No. Don't allow them organize such things if they don't have the capacity for crowd control. Simple.
Okay, Doctor, you said we cannot continue doing things the way we used to do them. Bringing it to these events, particularly this Ibadan Fun Fair, is something that has been going on before. She has been doing it before, or the organizers have been doing it before. So Nigerians would want to wonder what actually changed in this time, because people would attribute it to the fact that the economic hardship is intense right now. That is why most persons came out more than what they planned, because it's something that has been going on. People often do this during the festive season. So what actually changed in this season?
Well, there's nothing that changed, because we've had this kind of thing, as you rightly pointed out. We had a job interview gathering before, organized by a government official, but because they did not have the proper crowd control mechanism, people stampeded. It happens everywhere. So let us learn, and let the people in government who are responsible for granting these gathering licenses be sure that they don't just take money and grant. No, grant only where you are sure that organizers has capability for crowd control. If you don't make sure these things are stringently looked to before you grant such gatherings, you'll be sure to have a repetition of what we saw recently. So for us to stop it, because even as you rightly pointed out this time, the severe economic condition simply means that even if you make the space for 5,000 people, be sure to see 15 to 20,000 because of the stage of economic crisis that a lot of our people are now passing through and actually experiencing. So I believe that should be our game to prevent more deaths. Let the government officials in charge of approving such gatherings not cut corners. Let them be sure that anything that happens, we will blame them, the government officials, for approving of such gatherings without being sure that the organizers possess the capability for crowd control. If you do that, be sure that you will see more deaths.
All right.
Okay. Doctor, can we actually be over-prepared for situations like this, or would you just advise that these kind of charity organizations or charity giveaways should not happen at all in this season, considering the economic hardship?
It should happen. People should continue to be charitable. But you don't be charitable in a strategy to undermine society. Look, anybody who hates government can just start throwing money in the crowd. When you throw money in the crowd, people will jump at it and some will get stampeded upon. That's the truth. And you can use that to promote your propaganda. Say, you see, I told you, people are dying of hunger. Anywhere you go to, any market you go to, and you bring bread, just bread, and you start sharing, and you don't have capability for crowd control, be sure that you will see a stampede. Who tells you that those who want to undermine society will not do that? Of course. You will still call it charitable organization, but it's not all charitable arrangements that are actually charitable. Some could also be programmed to undermine society just to make points. So while I'm not saying that, I thank these people and I commend them for their charitable efforts. Right. But don't invite 10,000 people into a space that is meant for only 1,000 persons. When you invite them there and then you make food available, the stampede will, of course, result in deaths and very, very unsavory outcomes. That's what I'm saying. Let us be careful and let the government officials in charge of giving permits and supervision of such areas in society not start lacking in their duties, like, the Nigerian way, you just close your eyes, say, don't worry, go, you're a good man, go and do it as far as you give me what I want. And then they go there and they kill people.
Okay.
It's not proper.
Doctor,
no amount of charity is worthy of a Nigerian life. No. No amount of charity is worthy of a Nigerian life. None.
I asked the question earlier. I said, can we actually be over-prepared for this? Because you said something about inviting 5,000 people and not making enough, having enough capacity to carry them. How about a situation where you actually planned for 2,000 and added an extra 1,000 space capacity to be able to carry the extras that might come in, and then an overflow comes in? And if the force were to be, part of this arrangement, how would they have been able to control such intense crowd?
It's not an issue of intense crowd. Once you have a space, you will gauge the amount of people the space will take. And that's what you do. You start letting them in. You say, listen, we've done this. We've reached our limits. Please, the rest of you, go. And then you go in and you start what you're doing. But some organizers may simply be very excited to have, a mammoth crowd. But don't understand this. Mammoth crowd could also bring you mammoth problems. So, no.
All right.
Okay.
Look at the space. Gauge how many people the space will hold. Make your invitation based on what you've seen on the ground.
All
and
right.
we will have
Dr. Kaj.
Yes.
Yes, quickly, because we're winding off in a minute. Two questions for me. Number one is this, that isn't it instructive to say this happened in Ibadan, Southwest. It happened in Okija, Southeast. It happened at the FCT, North Central. Some will say, what we have been talking about, granted, we should have fantastic logistic plans, good planning, involve every stakeholder. In fact, so many states are now rolling out advisories and policies to say, henceforth, if you have anything to do, please contact us. Let us guide you, to forestall this kind of a thing. But the fact that it has happened in 3 different regions of the country, some will say, are we not just looking at the symptoms? How about the root cause? Isn't this the reason attributed to pervasive hunger? So many persons are now vulnerable. People that will look away from all these things before, they will not look away again because something is wrong with our economy. Are we not putting that in perspective? Because there are so many persons that 5,000 naira will not mean anything to. Just a bag of rice, 5 kg bag of rice, a liter of oil will not mean anything to. But everything that's degenerated, everybody wants to be a part of that. Why are we not looking at the root cause?
You are sounding like a Johnny just come. That's why you're sounding. You're sounding like a Johnny just come. People have suffered for 8 years of Buhari's rule. We suffered 3 recessions under Buhari.
You are still blaming Buhari for these things.
A lot of people have suffered very much what you're not talking about. It didn't start today. So once the music changes, what you do is you change your dance steps. Most of us have changed our dance steps since Buhari was in power. So by now, we understand it. Things are rough. Whoever is planning now must understand that the country has new music. That new music driven by new harsh economic reality. So if you plan, you must understand that due to the new economic conditions, people are likely to come plenty. So keep your venue to the amount of people that the organizers.
I understand, Dr. Kaj. If you can hear me, what I'm trying to say is this. All of those submissions are perfect, on point. But some will say, you're still blaming Buhari's 8 years. Tinubu is in charge for 19 months. 19 months right now. Yeah, whatever is happening to the people, you are still blaming Buhari that has left almost 20 months ago.
Tinubu cannot solve, look at the insecurity. He cannot solve it just in 20 months. What Buhari did was a lot of rocks in the system. Our problem is we are not appreciating how bad things got. We are not appreciating it. So those who are now saying they are suffering, what about those who were institutionally removed from the system? What about those who Buhari purposely had policies to actually subjugate? Don't you understand this?
No, I get you. I get you, Doctor. What I'm saying is this.
The people in the East suffered from weaponized.
I understand, Dr. Kaj. You know what I'm saying is this, that isn't it high time that we started holding government responsible, because Buhari came and blamed Goodluck Jonathan all through that tenure until it wasn't popular again. Now, the people in charge now have been blaming the person they took over from their own party. Again, the president has said it himself, because we inherited, a very bad economy. Something bad is happening. We are still victim blaming, and the blaming the other person. That's what I'm saying. But if you can do that in 1 minute, you are rounding off. If you can undo that, and my next question, which is the parting shot, possibly your friend, P2B, has been talking on this matter. In fact, he said it's a failure of the government. He had to delete that tweet when the pressure was much. But then he went further to say the activities of the government to say, oh, let us rein in, let's allow people, let's make people to register with us, and all of this bureaucracy. He is saying that we should not lose, these charitable activities of the people just because of bureaucracy. Let people go out and do what they have to do. But the government handlers are coming at him to say, you are playing politics. Do you see it that way? Is he playing politics?
Anybody has a right to describe someone's opinion the way they want. That's why we are a plural society. But I can tell you where the problem is in management. Right from the first incident in Ibadan, that should have raised a red flag across the country. And from what happened in Ibadan, people in Anambra, people in Lagos, people in Jos, people in Kano will understand that this is going to come to a place if charitable organizations want to give out. What do? We don't want a repeat of what happened in the Southwest in our place, so as to save lives. And this is what I'm saying. So I think from now on, it will be an issue of government regulations.
All right.
If government regulators are very, very inefficient in managing these scenarios, you will continue to see deaths. If they are firm and fair, those who commit to charitable activities in society will do it, but they will do it with caution.
Thank you, Dr. Couch. We want to appreciate you, a public affairs analyst on Nigerian by excellence, and of course the DJ at the Heritage Center, Dr. Couch. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
We appreciate you. Yeah, and this will be the size of the program today. We should go.
Yeah, we have to go, and tomorrow is the Christmas day. So, like we said earlier, cut your coat according to your material this time, not according to your size. Not like anyone.